What's up, Cozy Gamers? Today is the day Disney Dreamlight Valley is officially out of its early access period with the release of its new expansion, A Rift in Time. I figured a lot of new players will be jumping into the game now that it's in full access, so what better time to release an official opinion piece than now? I have played DDV every single day since it released in September 2022, so trust me when I say I know this game well and have a lot of opinions on it. In fact, if you are new to the game or just want tips and tricks, check out my Disney Dreamlight Valley tips and trick video, posted somewhere here and in the description box below. So now let's get into the good and bad. I'm going to be brutally honest. Starting with the good, I'd say first, what stuck out to me when I started playing Dreamlight Valley was the ease and flow of the gameplay. A lot of life sims games either have slow starts or an overwhelmingly large amount of things to juggle, but I felt like the pace in DDV was comfortable enough for me to have fun without feeling pressured. In general, DDV is a very stress-free game, especially because it follows a real-time clock like Animal Crossing does. While there are some quests that can only be done at certain times and some animal companions that can only be found at certain times and days, which I'll talk more about later, most things can be accomplished or obtained on any day at any time. DDV is a very good example of a pick up and play kind of game. Play it for 15 minutes or for hours, there's no pressure either way. There's also a lot to do in Dreamlight Valley, especially if you're just jumping in now, what with all the previous content you'll have to catch up on. There are tons of characters to meet and invite back to your valley, tasks to complete for them with item rewards, a friendship level system that encourages you to talk and spend time with everyone equally, and houses to place around your valley. Most of which are nice. More on that later too. On top of that, there are regular tasks you can complete, which can be found in the menu, animal companions to feed and collect, memory pieces to obtain, collectible furniture with which to decorate both inside and outside your house, farming, fishing, cooking, clothes customization, and we got even more today with the expansion, adding new things to the game like the Scramble Coin minigame and multiplayer. And that last bit is kind of a key point here. Gameloft continually updates the game, giving us players more to do. Yes, if you're like me and play regularly enough, there will be periods of downtime in which there isn't much to do besides grinding and decorating, but there's excitement in knowing that more is just around the corner. A good example of this is the Star Path, DDV's version of a battle pass. They're often themed and full of incredible items to look forward to, like the theme park items. The only downside being that if you start playing now, you've missed out on all of the previous Star Path items for good, unless Gameloft brings them back in the premium shop in the future, who knows. There's also Dream Snap challenges that reward players with premium currency for taking photos based on specific themes each week, uploading them to the internet, having theirs be voted on by other players, and voting on those players in turn. It's a really cool feature that's perfect for players who want to earn more premium currency but don't want to spend more real money, because depending on your ranking and how your photo is voted on, you will get a certain amount of moonstones. Like I said, there's a lot to do. I barely scratched the surface with everything I mentioned, and there's a reason I keep coming back to this game daily and have nearly 700 hours in it. Another thing I really like is the story. Compared to most Life Sims games, Disney Dreamlight Valley's story is really deep and ever expanding. It delves deeper and deeper into the history of Dreamlight Valley, the inhabitants and how they lost their memories, as well as your role in all of it. It was exciting to see it all unfold as each update introduced more characters and story quests. The Rift in Time expansion pass is chapter 2 of this story, so I can't wait to see what will happen next. It would have been really disappointing if a Disney game didn't have Disney-level storytelling, and I think Gameloft did a very serviceable job with it. The ending of chapter 1 touched on some surprisingly deep topics that I think will be relatable for a lot of Disney adults out there. And the last major positive note I have is the graphics and art style. This game is by no means a AAA title, but I like that it's a 3D Life Sims with full 360 camera control, and it allows you to play from a perspective that makes you feel like you are your character a bit more than a top-down 2D Life Sims would. I also really love the player character model. That butt. I've never been more inspired by a video game character to start working on my glutes. Like, damn. Now on to the bad, which may seem like a lot, but you'll find that most of it is made up of smaller issues and stuff that may be subjective to me. And you'll find that a lot of it has to do with the same topic, which is furniture and decorating. First, Dreamlight Valley has a major lack of simple, usable furniture. What I mean by that is like a simple bathroom sink or a simple shower. In fact, most Disney items, perhaps because they're themed after so many different Disney titles, are so colorful and unique looking that piecing them together to make cohesive designs can be really hard to do. Compound on that with the fact that the game rarely, if ever, lets you center items or put them on half spaces, and designing can get quite limiting, especially for perfectionists like me who love symmetry or early game players who haven't acquired a lot of pieces. I'll also add that obtaining furniture in general is quite hard and very RNG based. Scrooge's store has very limited items, and 9 out of 10 times it'll be full of doubles, and the pouches you can find rarely have new items in them. I only have around 1,100 pieces of furniture out of 1,600 plus, and that's after playing every day for over a year. And some of what I just stated sort of applies to the houses as well. Each Disney character has their own unique house, which is themed after them, their movie, or even their Disney theme park attraction, and sometimes it works and sometimes it really doesn't. For example, I am of the opinion that Vanellope has the ugliest house in the game, and due to the shape, color, and size, it is impossible to place it in any biome without it sticking out like a sore thumb, even the Frosted Heights or Glade of Trust. Another example is Belle and Beast's castle. They could have made it rustic and gray, but they decided to make it a very soft pink and purple, which apparently is what the attraction at Disney looks like, but I hate it. Decorating is my favorite part of any Life Sims game, so hitting a wall at every turn with mismatched furniture, the inability to place things where I want, and ugly houses can be a bit disheartening. I should say, however, that I believe they're adding the ability to remove villager houses in today's update, but like, if they didn't make the houses so ugly, that wouldn't even be necessary. Continuing the conversation of decorating, it is extremely difficult to do on console or with a controller. You do not have even half of the freedom you do on keyboard and mouse. Trust me, I have the game on both Switch and PC, and I wanted to pull my hair out trying to decorate with a Pro controller. It's so slow and unintuitive. Not to mention that there is a bug that will cause your game to get stuck loading if you stay in the furniture mode for too long, moving or adding furniture, buildings, or environmental pieces. And this bug happens even on PC. I can't tell you how many times I had to hard close my game because of it, and when I boot it back up, half the design progress I made is reset. This is something that may get fixed in the future, so this part of the video may become a moot point. I'm hoping it'll be fixed at some point anyway. Other issues with console is the item limit being lower than on PC and the frame rate not being as smooth. Are these deal breakers? I guess only you can answer that. If you have the choice, I definitely recommend PC. The next 2 points I have are kind of random and small, so I'll just say them quickly here. Number 1. There are animals in the game that can become your pet if fed multiple times. However, variations of said animals appear at specific times on specific days. Well, in order to collect every variation, the game requires you to play between midnight and 8 a.m. Why? Why create a schedule that forces players, many of whom are children who need to sleep early or adults with jobs who need to get up early? It makes zero sense to me, and I still haven't gotten the red fox or white squirrel as companions for this very reason. Oh, and if you're on Switch and thinking of time traveling, be careful because it can mess up your game. On to my number 2 point, if you use the in-game camera tool near villagers, they will automatically come into frame to take a selfie with you. Seems harmless, but it has become a real thorn in my side with the introduction of the Dream Snap challenges I mentioned earlier. Sometimes I'm trying to take the perfect photo to submit, which of course takes time, and then when I'm finally ready, a villager comes in and photobombs. I wish there was a way to turn that feature off or something. Finally, the last point I want to discuss can be viewed differently depending on who you talk to, and that is the price of the game game and what you get for it. Before I tell you what I think as far as is it worth it, I do want to say that I am in agreement with people who are hurt or jaded by Gameloft's decision to lock the next chapter, aka story progression, behind a paywall after specifically promising not to. Only cosmetics and optional quests were supposed to cost money. That right there was a blunder on their part, and they, of course, now have to work on regaining the trust of many people in their player base. Having said that, do I think that the $30 price tag on the Rift of Time expansion is terrible? Honestly, no. Would I have liked it to be free? Obviously. But let me explain myself so you understand where I'm coming from. As I mentioned earlier, I own the game both on Switch and PC. I originally bought the standard edition for Switch, but I liked the game so much, minus playing on the Switch, that I ended up buying the Ultimate Edition on PC. So yeah, I have already spent $100 on Dreamlight Valley. It might sound crazy, but I think the money I spent was worth it. Again, as I mentioned, I have nearly 700 hours in the game and play it every day. I've gotten so much enjoyment and playtime out of just the first chapter. If Chapter 2, the Rift in Time expansion, gives me even a fraction of that playtime, it's totally worth the $30 price tag. And for those of you who don't have the game at all yet and have listened to this video up to this point, I think the $70 Gold Edition is well worth it too. After all, it includes the base game, the expansion, 15,000 moonstones, a house skin, an animal companion, and clothing. And Founders Pack owners get 5,000 moonstones and all the cosmetic items for buying the $30 expansion pass too. And if y'all missed it, Gameloft announced recently that if you get the expansion pass and log in within the first week or two, you can get additional rewards in your mailbox, including a Jester Monkey pet, a royal costume, a Dreamlight gaming chair, and the Dreamlight Valley Savior jacket. Some might say this is Gameloft trying to butter us up to make amends, and hey, I'll take it. It's a start. To sum everything up, do I think Disney Dreamlight Valley is worth it? Yes, in my opinion, the game has a lot of fun features and gameplay, an interesting expanding story, Disney characters we know and love, consistent content updates including star paths and holiday events, and is, for the most part, a stress-free, play-at-your-own-pace kind of game. However, like all games, it has its pain points, particularly in design and decor category, with difficulty obtaining new pieces of furniture, lack of simple, usable furniture pieces, a few ugly houses, and the inability to center items or place them freely. And that's my opinion on Disney Dreamlight Valley. What do you guys think? Whether you're a longtime player like me, a new player, or a prospective player, let me know in the comments down below. Just be respectful. I've seen a lot of the discourse around Gameloft ever since they decided to put the new expansion behind a paywall, and some people online are a little wild and forthcoming with their opinions. And if you liked today's video, please be sure to subscribe, hit that like button, and turn on the notification bell for more cozy gaming content in the future. Until next time, cozy gamers, stay cute.